topic today is yoga for stress. We do have the dogs in the studio, so take note. You might hear them pitter-pattering around. Don't let that surprise you. They're kind of restless right now in the background. So today we are going to be doing some face yoga, so make sure you wash your hands. If you're not comfortable with it, just skip the face yoga part, lay down, chill out, find some rest. The purpose of this class is not to increase any stress, but to locate parts in our body that we might be holding physical stress, and then getting to a long resting pose, really reducing stress in the body, trying to let go. And taking some sacred time. So some sacred time on your mat. So as you start to land on your mat, come down to your back and think about the four edges of your mat. So this can be your space. Everything outside of the mat is outside of the mat for now. When you come to the mat, it's just you and the mat. You don't need to worry. The mat doesn't care how you look, what's happened. The mat is just there to support you, and start to connect with that concept of being supported, being in a sacred space, and thinking about your own space as your own sacred temple. So you're going to work with your own layers, not worrying about what you think poses should look like, not worrying about whether you're good at something or bad at something, but just having a physical experience, a sacred experience on your mat. So landing on your back, really connecting with, maybe even imagining little walls around your mat. Starting to really connect with the concept of yesterday is not on this mat. Today, this moment is here on this mat. Tomorrow is not on this mat. The to-do list, not here. Politics, fights, stress, worry, all of that is outside of this space for now. And it's not that we are trying to pretend that our memories don't exist and don't bother us, but we try to take time where they are not the central focus of our experience in life. So starting to just feel your hips on the ground, your legs can be long, your feet can be down on the ground with your knees up. Try to let your knees just soften in towards each other so they feel supported. If you're 100% comfortable and there's no gripping in the low back when you're long, go ahead and take a full long corpse pose. Notice where your hands naturally land. It can tell you a lot about how you're feeling. So, of late, I have been somewhat inflamed in my immune system, a little stressed, and if you notice, I automatically put my hands to my torso, my emotional center. It's something that I know about myself. So it's an opportunity to get to know something about yourself when you just land on the mat and start to let go of everything else. Notice what your breath is doing. Notice what your thoughts are doing. Notice if today it's easy to land on the mat, or if it's one of those days where it's hard to land on the mat. And if it's one of those days where it's hard to land on the mat, perhaps taking a note of what particular thoughts or feelings seem to be trying to draw your attention away, trying to drag you back outside of the mat. What is it that's drawing your attention? And almost like you're giving it its 15 minutes of fame, just give it the attention it's looking for. Notice it, sit with it. And gently try to pull your focus back to your physical body, feeling your hips on the ground, feeling your shoulders on the ground, feeling the back of your head on the ground. And each time you get pulled away, just return. Feel your hips, feel your shoulders, feel your head. Trying to have a physical experience, just drawing your focus from the outside world into something in the present moment in your physical body. Bring your awareness to your breath and notice if by doing that you start to bring muscular force into the torso. Just watch your breath, observe your breath. And then we're going to start to add thought to our breath. So helping our focus really stay on our breath. As you breathe in, say the words to yourself, I am. And as you breathe out, here now. I am here now. Trying to just follow the natural waves of your breath. I am here now. And then if your feet are not already on the ground, knees out, bring your feet to the ground, knees up, and take some side to sides with the knees, nice and slow, just feeling the legs and the hips. Notice what is present in the legs and hips and the low back. Notice any gripping. And then bring the knees up, feet down, and start to feel the shoulders. Wiggle the shoulders left and right. And again, noticing any gripping, any holding in the shoulders, moving the shoulders, having an experience in the shoulders. Maybe pulling them up towards the ears and pushing them down. Really just moving your shoulders around, starting to feel what is present in the shoulders. And then let the shoulders soften and press just a little bit into the back of the head. Bring the chin to the ceiling and bring the back of the head to the ground. Press just a little bit so you can really connect with the sensation in the back of your head. And then take your head side to side, nice and slow. Starting to feel what's present in the neck. It can be helpful to bring the palms up and a little bit higher away from the hips, maybe a bend in the elbows, letting the shoulders really find the ground and find what's present in the neck. And then bring the chin back to neutral. Bring any hand to the forehead and press just lightly on the forehead. So now you can feel physical sensation on the top of the head and in the back of the head. Notice what is going on in your jaw now. See if you can soften any gripping around the muscles of the jaw. Imagine your lower jaw just loosening and softening and falling into gravity. And then let that go and take the arms out ahead of you so you can look at the hands. Spread the fingers wide. Look at the fingers. Notice how the hands feel. Maybe move the wrists around. Nice and slow. Having an experience in the wrists. And then make Fists, squeeze the fists tight. Notice how that feels. Look at the fists. Really be present entirely in the hands. And then take little soft circles with your hands, keeping the fists. Notice slow circles and then back the other way. Spread the fingers wide and take your slow circles with your hands. Notice how much the arms want to do all the work and try and keep it from the wrist down. Feeling your hands, feeling your wrists. Slow, slow, slow circles. Trying to find the muscles of the hands. Find any gripping that might be in the hands. Take the hands up. Squeeze the fingers together and then pull the fingers back down towards the shoulders. And we're going to take the fingers and turn them in and then turn them out nice and slow, like you're turning a jar. Turning in and turning out. Now start to take the movement a little bit more into the arms. Notice any gripping. So for me, I have some gripping in the right elbow. And now I have a holding pattern in my mid back. So if that starts to happen, give the muscles that are not supposed to be working right now a little shake, reset, and go back to turning in and turning out. Trying to use only the arms and shoulders. And then soften the arms, let them shake. And let them land on the ground. Take a little wiggle, make sure there are no more holding patterns. Bring the palms of the hands down towards the hips. Press the palms of the hands into the ground and start to fire up the muscles of the chest and shoulders. So we're going to press into the hands, find the muscles of the chest and shoulders. Try to turn off the lower back. Try to keep it up in the shoulders. Try to keep it out of the neck. Nice soft neck. And then press on and let go. Press the muscles on and then let go. Seeing what it feels like to have the muscles fired up and then soft. Fired up and then soft. Connecting with the muscles. Mind, body, connection. Noticing if you're starting to press into the hips. Noticing if you're gripping in the neck. Noticing if you're gripping in the face. Noticing if you're gripping around your breath. Switch the hands so the palms are down and then press into the back of the hands. Notice a slightly different muscle group fire up. Try to keep the neck soft, face soft. Lower back soft, feet soft. Breath steady. And then press on and press off. Noticing what it feels like to fire these muscles up and then let them go. Fire up, let go. You'd like to match your breath with the movement. Take an inhale as you press, exhale as you soften completely. Bring your arms to goalposts. So upper arm, even with the shoulder, bend the elbows and let the backs of the hands come down up towards the ears. Land in this position. So start to just feel how this feels. Get comfortable in your shoulders, comfortable in your hips. And we're going to press the arms lightly into the ground. And we're going to draw the arms down towards the hips. And then all the way back up. So elbows come down towards the hips and then all the way back up. Keeping the goalpost shape. Keeping your hands firm, arms fired up. You're trying to find the muscles of the upper back without over tensing the neck or lower back. So soft low back, soft feet, squeeze, locate the muscles of the upper back. Feel the shoulder blades move on the ground. Bring the elbows down towards the hips and slowly bring the hands down towards the hips. Still bent elbows. We're going to squeeze the elbows in towards the torso and then push the elbows open wide. Squeeze into torso, push wide. Slightly different group in the mid-back we're looking for. So fire up the mid-back. Try to keep the neck soft. Try to keep the low back soft and the glutes soft. Legs soft. Looking for the muscles of the shoulders. Trying to find them. Which ones fire up when we make the movements that we make today? We're looking for that internal experience. And then let the arms and shoulders soften. Take a side sway of the head, letting the tension go in the neck. Take a wiggle of the shoulders, see how they feel. And then take the feet up towards the ceiling. Knees can be bent, just looking at the feet. Experiencing the feet above the heart. If this creates pulling in your lower back, bend the knees, press the hips into the ground, or even just place your legs onto a chair or a wall to help support you so that you don't have to have all that gripping in your lower back. Keep your feet up. Look at your toes. Spread your toes, wiggle your toes. Take some movements with your feet. Move through the muscles of your feet, looking and connecting to the muscles of your feet. So not just flopping them around in space, wiggling them, but actually looking at the feet and finding the muscles. Lots of muscles in our feet. Maybe pedaling them out. Just focusing on the feet. So not too much muscular action in the legs yet. Focusing on the feet. Pull the toes down towards the shins. And then turn the feet out. Start to feel the muscles on the outer edges of the lower leg. Activate the muscles. Activate the muscles in the legs. And then turn the toes in. Turn the toes out. And turn the toes in. Bend the knees. Give yourself a little hug. Maybe even rock side to side. Bring the knees above the hips. Press the hips down into the ground and start to fire up the stomach muscles. So press the hips down, not the low back. Let the low back have its natural curve. Press the hips down and the rib cage. This should fire up the core muscles. If you're not sure and you need a little more assistance, bring your fingertips to your torso and remind the muscles that you want to fire up. If you're ready to make it a little bit more difficult, you're going to bring the ankles in line with the knees in line with the hips. This should fire up a little bit more of the core muscles. You can also bring your head and lift your head and look to the ceiling. This will bring the upper muscles and the neck. You can also bring your arms out and hold. Mindful of the muscles of the neck. Try not to hold so long that you bring in too much tension in the neck. Breathing as we fire up these core muscles. And then bring your knees back in. Give yourself a hug. And step back up again. So press the hips into the ground, knees over hips. Feet can be down or a little bit higher on active legs. Rib cage presses down into the ground. Arms can lift. Breathe and hold. And then bring your hands to your thighs, and we're going to move with our breath, trying to focus on these core muscles, not using the lower back for this movement. So really have to focus to make this movement in the core. Inhale as you open left side. So left arm comes overhead, left leg lengthens. Exhale as you bring it back. Inhale as you open right side. Exhale as you bring it back. Moving with your breath and watching this movement. If all the heat is coming out of your core and into your face, back off, make the movement smaller. Try to keep the heat in the core, really strengthening the stomach. Complete a full round. Bring your knees in. Give yourself a little hug. Rock it. Reset. Plant your feet on the ground, not too close to the glutes. So give yourself a lot of space. And feet are about hip width apart. And we're going to land our shoulders on the ground. We're going to give our chin, bring our chin to the ceiling and give our neck a lot of space. And we're going to move and breathe by firing up the entire base. Inhaling, lifting the hips, exhaling, lowering. So as you start to get the movement connected with the breath, inhale, lift, exhale, lower. We do not need to lift the hips super high to find the muscles of the core firing up and to find the muscles of the legs and glutes. So starting to find connection to all of these muscles, watching for compensation patterns in your neck. Move with your breath. Fire up the glutes, but not only the glutes. Fire up the backs of the legs. Fire up the core. Try to find even use, getting the hip flexors to work just as strong as the glutes. Trying to get everything to move as a team. Inhale, fire up. Exhale, keeping it fired lower. Inhale, fire up, lift. Exhale, keeping that firing up lower. Muscles are not soft. If you need a little break in between, add a pause at the end of your exhale. Take a little soft. And then inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Again, looking for all the heat to be in the muscles and not in the face. Watch for drawing that tension up into your face. Soften the muscles of the face. Move with the breath. Lower the hips. Take a side with the knees. Bring the left foot down and cross the right ankle just underneath the left knee. Press the right knee away from you. Play with lifting the toes of the left foot or pulling the heel of the left foot back towards you without letting you move or pushing it away. So two different actions. Firing up this left side. So firing up nice and strong and firing up right side hip. Imagine you're sending energy, pushing your right knee away from you and sending the right foot out. So strong legs. Slowly bring right knee in towards the chest. Maybe you can wrap your hands around the shin. Just start to move, feel the right hip. Maybe take circles. Notice what is present in your hip. Switch sides, right foot down, plant the foot, feel the hips even on the ground, solid, and then cross left ankle underneath right knee. And set up again. Experiment. Pull the left knee away from you, send energy out of the left heel, and then maybe lift the toes of the right foot or pull the heel towards you or push it away. See which one feels right for you in your practice today, in this moment, right now. Breathe. And then bring the left knee in towards the chest, maybe hug it. Have an experience in your left hip, maybe making circles, just seeing what is present, having an experience. And then bring the left knee back down. Take a side sway left and right with the knees and hips. Bring the knees back to the chest. Roll on over to a side, and we're going to come all the way over to tabletop. And take a little weight in the hands, left and right. Move side to side. Have an experience through the hands and shoulders. Take a little weight into the wrists. So it seems counterintuitive, but taking weight into our wrists actually strengthens our wrists. So sometimes we feel like our wrists are too tired, there's too much work on our hands. One of the ways to really strengthen this joint is to really work with it. Take some weight. Slowly build your strength. And try to have an experience in your hands rather than worrying about somebody else's version of perfect alignment. So oftentimes we're told to put the hands directly underneath the shoulders and bring a 90-degree angle. Let go of that. Everybody's wrists are different shapes, have different kinds of inflammation. So let go of that and try to find the place where you feel like you can take weight without nerve pinching or increasing of inflammation. Your own experience, and especially if this alignment is really painful, it can be bone on bone issue, not flexibility issue. So make more space for your wrists. Take the weight somewhere else. Turn the fingertips back towards you. Slowly bring the body weight back towards your hips, and then just open up the back of the wrists. If you're here with on your fingertips, or if you're planting your wrists, take a little experience in your own hands. If you're ready to take some weight in this shape, go ahead and lift the body forward, nice and slow and with control. Just moving through the hands, having your own experience. The closer your hands are to your knees, the little bit easier it is. And then bring your hands back to regular tabletop, lower down all the way to crocodile. So come down to your stomach, nice and slow. Crocodile is one hand on top of the other, forehead down. Shimmy the hips when you get here. Land and soften in this pose and notice what comes up. Is this your favorite pose? Is this your least favorite pose? Is this the pose where you suddenly feel like I'm going to drift away into softness? Or is this the pose that brings up lots of stress? So yoga is an exploration. There are no right answers. It's about journeying through your own experience on your own mat. And return to moving with our breath here. We're going to lift our shoulders with the inhale. So hands are wherever you can balance and feel secure. We're going to think about lifting the shoulders, not the head. And we're going to inhale, lift, exhale, lower. Inhale, lift, and exhale, lower. Trying to connect with those muscles in our back. All of the muscles in our back. Back of the legs are firing, glutes are firing, low back, mid back, upper back. Trying to find even use of the muscles. So not overly squeezing the shoulders, not overly squeezing the glutes, not overly bringing all the tension into the low back and trying to get really high. We're trying to just connect with these muscles, make them stronger, have an experience, and notice which ones seem more strong. Want to do all the work. Try to take the gripping out of the neck. Maybe you're ready to lift the arms and pull the elbows back. Maybe you're even ready to lift the toes. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Pay attention to your breath and pay attention to the heat in your face. Try to keep the heat in the muscles. Try to move with the breath. Inhale, lift. And exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Bring it back down to crocodile pose. Shimmy the hips. Loosen and soften all of those muscles we just used. Surrender into your mat. Slowly bring the right heel towards the glute. So fire up the right leg, bring the heel towards the glute. Send the toes slowly back down towards the ground. Bring the heel towards the glute, trying to fire up the muscles of the back of the leg. Nice and slow. And then bring the heel back about halfway, just above the knee. And we're going to press the heel towards the ceiling. Try to do this with your glute and leg, but notice if your low back wants to do all the work. So try and do it with the leg and the glute. Notice, hold, fire it up. Make a choice. If you can hold this steady, keep your knee lifted. If you cannot, lower the knee back down. And we're going to move left and right with the foot, nice and slow. Bring the foot across the body towards the left, all the way over towards the right. Try and make this movement, again, with the glute, hip, low leg, whole leg, not the low back, which is going to want to do a bunch of the work. Trying to locate muscle groups, isolate, strengthen, and then release tension in these muscles. Lower the right leg down and give it a really good shake. Let it go, shake it, soften it. And then move on to the left leg. So I'm lifted so that I can talk and you can hear me in the microphone. Try to keep your head down on the mat with your forehead down as much as possible, because you don't want to be bringing compensation patterns into the neck as you're doing this. So lifting the left leg, bring the heel towards the glute, nice and slow. Slowly lower the toes back towards the ground. Slow, controlled, using the leg muscles. Nice and slow. Control movement both directions, so we're not pulling hard towards the glute and then flopping down towards the ground. We're using the muscles of the leg. And then bring the heel above the knee and lift the knee. Press the heel up towards the ceiling. Trying to do it with left side, with the glute, not with the right lower back. Soften the right lower back. And then taking the heel left to right, you can keep the knee lifted or you can lower the knee. Nice and slow, left and right with the heel. Trying to keep the movement below the knee on the right side. Nothing else moving. Everything else solid, firm, grounded. And then lower the left leg and shake out both legs. Really shake out the legs. Wobble, loosen like jelly. And then still into, find the stillness of crocodile pose. Connect to that point in the middle of your forehead where your face is connected to your hand. Bring as much focus as you can right to this point. Feel this point in your body. Surrender the burden your muscles are carrying into the mat. Let go. Find the ground. And then coming on up to a child's pose. Slow, careful, as if you're trying to make this a meditative movement. Find the muscles that make this movement happen nice and slow. Find a child's pose. Knees can be together, they can be apart. You can make any shape with your hands that feels right for you in this moment. As we're thinking about surrender and loosening and softening, perhaps bringing your hands to a prayer shape, trying that. You can also bring your prayer over your head or clasp your hands. And then we're going to move on to our face yoga section. And we are going to do this seated. So please, if you are not comfortable seated, grab your chair. There's no prize for learning to sit cross-legged on the ground. We're looking for ways that we can be comfortable seated and not increasing tension in the body. So if this hurts your hips, hurts your low back, you're just not comfortable, don't do it. Find a chair. Sit on a chair, sit nice and tall. So, one of the things our ancestors did to us is they told us to stand up straight. So, not straight. Don't force the curves out of your spine, but allow the curves to be in your spine. You have a curve in the low back, you have a curve mid-back, you have a curve in your neck. Let those curves be there. And rather than thinking about standing up straight and pulling our neck out of line, pulling our shoulders back, think about getting taller, taller, taller from the crown of the head, as if you have something holding your skull and pulling you up and making more space for the vertebrae in your spine. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. Notice what is present in the back, in the shoulders, in the face. And rub your hands together, make them nice and warm. Just kind of feel sensation in your hands. And then bring your hands onto your chest, crossing your hands onto your chest. Just underneath your collarbones, feel the warmth of your hands here. Imagine the warmth of your hands could soften any tension resting in this space. And then further bringing sensation to this space. So a lot of our immune system is right up here in our chest. So just little finger taps right in underneath the collarbone. Little soft taps. Just bringing sensation here, our awareness here. Feeling this space, little soft, gentle finger taps across our chest, underneath our collarbone. If you find a spot that feels like that's just right for you just now, stop moving and just tap on that spot. Have an experience. If you're tapping and you find, sometimes this can start some drainage, start some things moving, and if you're finding that's overwhelming, stop and just place your hands here, bring your awareness here, and think about opening. So if you are finding drainage and it feels overwhelming, think about holding your chest and allowing your sinuses to drain slowly. The mind and imagination is a powerful tool. We can connect it to the inner workings of our body and help it along. And then rub your hands together and make them nice and warm again. And we're going to bring them onto our neck, wherever is comfortable. And think about the warmth of our hands, softening any tension in our neck. Breathe. Imagine the warmth of your hands could go all the way to the back of your throat, cleaning your throat. If you're a visual person, you can imagine a soft blue ball of energy between your hands all the way to the back of your throat, gently sweeping away tension. And then we're going to take gentle strokes down our neck. So we want to come just underneath the jaw, the back of the jaw, and stroke down our neck. Nice and soft, not too firm. Using 2 fingers, using a whole hand, nice and soft. Just drawing, as if drawing the tension from our jaw down our neck. Soft, mindful, gentle strokes. And then we take 2 fingers on either side of our vertebrae on our spine. So we actually reach back and find the 2 little notches on our skull, and we're going to draw down the back of our neck. Not on our vertebrae, not on the spine, but either side of the spine. Drawing down from the base of the skull down the neck. Really connecting in with how this feels. And even closing the eyes and drawing your attention right back to the feeling, the physical experience of your fingers on your skin, on the back of your neck. And then take those same 2 fingers on either hand, find the notches at the back of your skull, and take little soft circles here. Soft circles. Common place to hold our tension. What always makes me curious is it seems that we hold so much tension right at the base of our skull, the meeting place of our brain and our body. It's almost like we fight this mind-body connection so much that we cause a little traffic block here. Let that go, and you're going to take Spock hands. So open your hands up, Spock hands, and you're going to place them either side of your ears. So little finger and ring finger on the front of your ear. Place your hands right up, squeeze your ears a little, and then draw down towards the jaw. Soft, slow, gentle strokes. Take pinchy fingers, so index, pointer finger, thumb. Take them around the edges of your ears and pinch the edges of your ears. Little pinches. You can also pinch and pull back. Bringing circulation to the very tips of your ears. Feeling all these little pressure points. And then you're going to look for the cartilage that is just above the ear canal. You're going to press your index finger onto that cartilage and then push up and back. So imagine you're grabbing the cartilage of your ear canal and you're pulling it and making more space for your ears, for your hearing. Push up and back. And really focus in on in between your ears, your hearing. Bring pinchy fingers, grab the jawbone. And stroke all the way from the center, all the way up to the ears. Nice long strokes. If you find any point of tension that you feel like you're just going to sit and hold, go ahead. Have your own internal experience. The wonderful thing about self-massage is that you get to decide where the strokes go and which tension you want to focus on. And then we're going to take 2 fingers and stroke underneath the eye or lightly tap the bone underneath the eye to see which one feels better for you today. Two fingers, little circles right where upper and lower jaw meet. Soft, smooth, slow circles. Two circles at the corners of our eyes, nice and soft. Then take your 2 fingers of one hand, press between the eyes and take a stroke all the way up to the hairline. Long, slow stroke. Imagine you're undoing all those frowns, undoing the force of gravity, lifting the hairline back off the eyebrows. And then take 2 fingers on both hands. Start in the middle, just above the eyebrow, and stroke out and up towards the hairline. Start in the middle, stroke out, and then up. Try not to go into the temple, up through the forehead. finally, take little pinchy fingers and pinch the eyebrow. Little soft pinches along the upper bone of the eye. Little soft, gentle pinches. Lower your hands into your laps, not where you think they should be, but wherever they flop, wherever your shoulders are comfortable. Close your eyes, bring your focus inward, and notice any sensation. Gently and softly bring the fingertips of both hands to touch in your lap. Feel your fingertips. Imagine there's a soft ball of energy in between your hands. If you're visual, make it red. Think about grounding, earth, landing in your base. Landing in your physical body right here in this moment. And then without waking up too much, as if gently trying to move into a resting pose without waking a baby in a room, make your way to a resting pose. So, make your resting pose the most comfortable pose you've taken all day. It can be any pose that you choose as long as there's no muscular gripping happening while you're in this pose. Start to land on the ground. Let your muscles soften. Let the ground support you. Start to feel all the tension melting from the face, from the shoulders, from the hips, from the feet. Ungrip the hands, soften the hands. And bring your focus inward. Gently and softly inward towards the heart space. So I'm going to read from the Radiant Sutra today. And these ancient texts have been through many translations, many versions. But they were written in a poetic language meant to be heard more from the heart center than the cognitive head. There's so much of our world that is not meant to be cognitively understood, but felt from the heart. And some of these texts can help us have some of those experiences. So as you're listening, or not listening, maybe you're tuning out and having your own experience, try to imagine hearing, experiencing, feeling from your heart center rather than your head. Toss aside your map of the world, all your beliefs and constructs. Dare the wild unknown. Here in this terrifying freedom, naked before the universe, commune with the One who knows everything from inside, invisible power pervading everywhere, divine presence permeating everything. Breathe tenderly as lover of all beings. So resting into that heart center. Perhaps imagining that your breath, your life force is coming in through your heart center. Breathing in fresh and releasing out things no longer needed. soften into your center. Let all the layers of the body, the muscles, the mind, the ego, all the layers soften. Draw towards center. Let go of the outside world and surrender into your mat, into the support of the ground below you. Whenever thoughts or the outside world threatens to pull your attention away from your heart center, gently draw your attention back. Try not to berate yourself or judge yourself on your journey back towards your heart center. Just soften your focus back towards the heart. And if you're a very visual person, you can imagine a little candlelight right here in the center of your heart, as if it's a candle in a dark cave. Single light right in the center, your spark of life. If you have the time to soften into your resting pose and take more time, please take all the time you need, surrendering into your mat and gently reminding yourself to come back to your heart center whenever the outside world or the thoughts pull you away. If you have 60 minutes and that's all you have today, we are coming up to that point. So begin to make your way to a fetal position if you're not already there. Curl up in a little ball, keeping your focus on the heart center. Thinking about all the walls that we build up around this heart center as protection. Without labeling them, without giving them an experience or a memory, but just thinking about a physical wall around this space. Connecting with the concept that this wall, this giant wall, protects us from the outside world. But it also prevents us from connecting within. So without cognitively trying to understand the concept or think about an attachment to a memory, imagine some of this wall softening and perhaps being ready to be left on the mat. Thanking the wall for the service it's given us and being ready to let it go. And then come on up to a seated position. Imagining coming up nice and slow, a little bit softer, a little bit lighter. Maybe carrying a little bit less. And it's not that we discard our memories. It's not that we discard things that we dislike or unhappy memories. It's that we learn to detach from the emotional burden, the heavy burden, or the well-worn thought path in our head. We learn to accept these experiences, these shames, these judgments, these things that we've carried for a long time are part of ourselves, and that we're ready to just accept them as part of ourselves and drop the emotional burden that comes along with it. Learning to accept ourselves as whole and complete, precisely as we are. Focusing in on your heart center, honoring your heart center, and knowing that living with an open heart does not mean that we believe that we're going to lead with our chest, heart open, and nothing will ever go wrong. It is that we believe that we can lead with an open heart, and that when things do go wrong, we have our own backs. We can connect back in, we can mend, we have tools, we can repair, we can pick ourselves back up by drawing in and connecting in to our heart center, and then letting it shine forth and guide us on our journey. May we all spend the day feeling a little more whole, a little less broken. Thank you for joining me.